So why is God so hidden? This is a question that we all have to deal with at times, no matter if we're looking at it from a Christian aspect, to where at times we feel Him so close in our lives, yet at other times He feels vacant, non-existent. And this can be either whether it's just in our normal walk or while we're going through an immense pain where we just want His presence and we want Him to make the pain stop. But this is also true when it comes to, somebody that's an atheist that doesn't believe in God. And if that's you and you're searching for God, if you're wondering why doesn't He make His presence known, this can be something that can be heavy on your heart. Or if you're in between, not sure if God exists or not, and just wondering why you don't see this presence. Bertrand Russell, who was a well-known atheist when he was in about his 90s, he was approached by someone. And this person asked him, basically getting at, Bertrand, your life is going to be coming to an end here in the near future. What are you going to do when you meet God? And to sum up his answer, he said, why didn't you make yourself known? That was his response. And we see this in a lot of different avenues. When this question is asked, this answer comes in a lot of different avenues. And it can be, why hasn't God arranged the stars to show His presence? Or why don't we have a tattoo on our arm that says made by God? Right? All our TVs have made in China. Why don't we have something on us written that says made by God? God exists. See, this is a question we all have to look at. And I think we can break this down into two different categories. The first is, does God make His being known? Does He show that He exists? And I say absolutely. And we can see this in many different ways. We can see it when we look at creation. When we look at everything around us, not only immediately around us, but go out further and look at the universe. Everywhere you look, you see design, you see very intricate inner workings where everything has to be fine-tuned perfectly in order for it to function. But we also see God when we look in history. We see it whether we look at how God has led people in their lives, or when we look at our salvation, we look at the historical evidence for Christ's existence, His death, His resurrection, and His ascension. We also see it when we look at morality, right? How can we know what is right and wrong unless there is an absolute morality written on our hearts? I do want to make one thing clear here. I am in no way saying that if you deny God that you can't live a moral life. I know that there's a lot of people out there that deny God's existence that live much more moral lives than a lot of people that call themselves Christians. So that's not it at all. What I'm saying here is if God doesn't exist, you have nothing to base an absolute morality on. But we see that there is an absolute morality that we all know, that we all feel, that we all see when we look at the world, and we see things that aren't the way they should be. But we also see this in other ways. We see this in consciousness. How can we have this conversation in the first place? How can we turn around and give deep thought into subjects like this unless we have consciousness that can only be explained by intelligence, not by naturalism, not by materialism? So we see that God has definitely made His presence known. He has made His being known. But does He hide His person at times? Does He hide His presence from us? We know He's there, but we don't feel His presence. And the answer is absolutely yes. We see the reasoning for this in a couple different avenues. First is in the matter of free will. You see, if God was right here making His presence known and turning around and showing us exactly which way to go and exactly which way not to go, how could we freely choose to follow Him? C.S. Lewis said it this way. He said that God does not lead with ravish, He only leads with woo. He doesn't force us to follow Him. Instead, He puts us in a position where we want to follow Him. And this is very powerful. See, I've got two wonderful children of my own. And I can tell you that as a parent, it is very special when they were littler and they would follow you and they would, without a question of a doubt, do what you say, unless they're throwing a temper tantrum, of course. But the beauty comes when they get older and they start following and listening, not exactly because they have to, but because they choose to. And they do this out of love and respect. See, that's where the beauty is that God gives us this option to follow him or to deny him. That's the only way we can truly love him. So when we look at the big picture of what's going on here, we see that God definitely makes his presence known through creation, through personhood, through DNA, through design, through morality. But then he gives us the choice to follow. He makes his presence known, but he lets us make our own choice out of love for us. I hope this helps shine a little light on this subject when we start looking at why is God so hidden. And I hope that you find peace in knowing that if you choose to follow God, if you choose to accept the salvation that Jesus has offered, that you are guaranteed that this darkness, this emptiness that can be felt when you don't feel God's presence will guaranteed come to an end. A lot of times they'll come to an end on this side of the grave. That we will find moments in our life where he is once again back and we feel him in every step of our lives, where we feel this connection, this unity to him. But the glory, the beauty comes when we feel this because we're in his presence. I hope this has helped make sense of this for you. I hope this has helped bring some of this to light. That's what we do here at Shadowless. We bring the truth out of the darkness and into the light. Thank you, and God bless.